Hello, everyone. This is Winston Wilson with the Courageous Creativity Show and the Fearless Productivity Show. Today is a different kind of conversation. Today, I am talking to a man and a brother that I've known for over 40 years. I'm starting to think, brother, that we've known each other for getting close to 50 years. And so today, John C. Smith. This is my brother and his family and my family are unbelievably close. And today what we will talk about is our friendship, what it means to us, how it's come about, some of the things that we've gone through, some of the things that we used to do and do today as friends and get together. And the reason why I wanted to do this is not only do I love him and I love my brother, but a lot of times I think when it comes to friendship, for me, the bar has been set so high because of the friendship that John and I have that I really would like the world to know about. So my brother, we call him June. So June, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about why you're called Dog.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. Thanks for having me.
That is so awesome. So here's the story, everyone. And I'm going to try to make this as dramatic and as possible. When my family moved from Brooklyn when I was a kid, we moved to Roosevelt, Long Island. And for those of you who don't know, Roosevelt, Long Island is one of the coolest places in New York. A lot of great people have come from Roosevelt. We're going to talk about that here in a bit too. So when we get to Roosevelt, Long Island, I go into the room that my parents have allocated towards me and say, this is your room. The room is hot pink, the whole room. And that is because I think the previous family, who were white people, Caucasian people, they had two daughters. I don't know why I remember this like this. Anyway, so as I go, I get up on the top of the chair in the bed and I look out the window and I see these boys across the fence riding in their little bikes or tricycles. That's what I think. That's what maybe I don't know. It's tricycles or big wheels. I don't know which ones they were.
No, I know exactly what you were.
And one of those was my brother Junior, and we started, and we ended up having in my opinion, one of the best friendships in my life that we've ever had. And so, brother, tell me, do you remember that way? I want to hear it from you. Like, how do you remember like the first time we met each other?
Oh, well, I remember it like yesterday. I remember it so vividly. I remember, the story that I remember was, after, my previous neighbors, they moved out. I remember two girls. I believe they were of West Indian descent. They were white, but I think they were West Indian. I think they were Jamaican. Mhm. But anyway, I remember I was at the fence, and I think Chauncey at the time was on a video.
Shanti is your younger brother. I mean, your brother.
Yes. Mm-hmm. My youngest, yeah. He's my big little brother now. It's crazy. We're all 2 years apart. So I remember you opening your window, introduce yourself. I'll never forget it. I look up. I hear stuff. First, I hear a song, and I look at some windows. Said, "Who is that?" That's it. And then you just introduce yourself. Oh, my name is Winston. And I said, "Oh, okay." And yeah, all right. I'm John, but they call me Junior. uh, but yeah.
Maybe
I remember
said.
that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm embellishing this, but maybe I said I'm called Junior too. I don't remember if that was.
Something to that effect. Something to that effect. There was something that it just clicked immediately. It just clicked immediately. That's what it was. And then he came outside. And, we put you, I never forget, you were pushing me in the big wheel. I was pushing you in the big wheel. I'll never forget that. That's when you had a trooper in your yard. Yeah. The biggest, huge, humongous tree in front of your yard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right over the fence there, right between it. Yeah.
Yeah, the fence there, and and the sidewalk curved around this huge tree.
I remember this. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
would, one of the things that I remember fondly, and maybe those of you when you were growing up, is that when I was learning to ride a bike, June and I were in the driveway that we had, and we were learning.
Mm-hmm.
So who learned how to ride a bike first, whether it was you or I? But I remember spending countless hours trying to learn
Yes,
how to ride a bike together. That
yes,
dress.
I think you were first. Mm-hmm. I believe you were out first, then I, then it was me.
Yes, and I remember, but back when you're younger like that, right now that driveway looks pretty small as grown people. Then it was they're going for a distance.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Like, who's gonna learn how to ride a bike first? And
Exactly.
you know, I don't know. I don't know if that happens that way anymore. I don't know if everyone has experiences like that. All I know is I remember
Nah,
super fond of
mm-mm.
school.
I don't remember what kind of bike you had, so I'll never forget it. As long as I live, I'll never forget it.
It
It
was
was a Huffy Thunder Trail. I remember that. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. Because, yeah, yep.
it was
And I think I
yeah,
had,
yeah, go ahead. I think you had like a Schwinn or something like that.
I had a Schwinn, yeah, I had a Schwinn. Yep, I had a Schwinn.
I remember those bikes. This is off of on a big tangent, but those bikes took us lots of places.
What? Oh my God, everywhere. Everywhere. It was like a car. We were everywhere.
We would ride miles and miles and miles away from where we lived on those bikes.
Absolutely. We were gone. We were out there. And, and for those who don't know, well, niggas there, you got to say, Dalton especially, Charlotte would be crazy, like, in the boroughs like Queens or Brooklyn or whatever like that. It's a little bit more subdued, especially back then. Back then, yeah, you had cars, yeah, you had people who speeding and stuff like that, but, basically it was kid friendly.
There was. You didn't have to have bike lanes, stuff like that.
Yeah. We had a bike lane.
Just rode on your bikes. We used to go to play.
Yes.
Where did we used to go? We used to go to Baldwin, which for them to
Oh,
street
yeah.
adjacent to us. We used to go.
Mm-hmm.
I and June to a lesser extent was big into comic books. So it was a
Yep.
comic book store in Baldwin. It seemed like
Yep.
everywhere.
Incredible Pope.
Yeah, and that was the name of it too.
Incredible Pope. Yep, the Incredible Pope. I know, yep, right there on Grand Avenue, right by the train circle.
He was such a nice guy who ran that. He was a white guy. He was so cool. The dude who ran that shop.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was a cool dude.
Like he was really really cool. I really appreciate it. Baldwin itself, from what I understand, Baldwin itself had some problems, but he was really really cool. He was just,
Yeah, he was cool. Man. This dude was really cool.
it was good. And I don't know how far it was, but it seemed like we were riding to freaking Africa. On a ride to get to the comic book store, and it come.
Yes.
How healthy did that make us riding our bikes like that?
Oh, absolutely. We were, without, they have e-bikes now. But we just had
E-bike over.
legs.
That was a big e-bike. And then we had to
Yeah, well,
we had to like become technicians with our bike and learn how oils in the chain and
yes.
the gas were a certain way and to get it up kayaks. We had to do all of this stuff. Those days were
Yes.
simply fun.
Absolutely.
That audience that June and I had that we were really, really tight about was our love of art. And
Oh, yes.
we were really bold, but June is and was a phenomenal, dope graffiti artist. He used to make these wonderful graffiti pictures with his images and all of that kind of stuff. I remember them so clearly, dude. Those things were like Shirt King type things.
Yes. Shirt Kings. Oh my God.
They were so.
That thing is back.
And we used to sit there and like do art together. Or we talked about each other
Absolutely.
and that kind of stuff. We were
Absolutely.
like artistically inclined, and I was big into comic book art. And I remember that being such a thing that drew us together. I remember sitting there like creating stories and making up stories together. And
You were on another level. You were on a very executive. It was I would say executive level. I think you were way far along as far as stories, as far as publishing, stuff like that. The publishing. I'm thinking, okay, I've learned the word, I've heard the term, but I'm still a young man. I'm a teenager. I think I don't know what to choose yet. But you were talking about here's a non-publishing. I was like, okay, and then I believe you went to an actual publisher. We found the young lady. I forget her name, but I know her. If I saw her, I see her on my mind. But I know the young lady, and she would always eat plantain chips.
oh yeah,
All the time. All the time. I never forget. She always eat. And we went to countless times. And, just talking about it. And she would just, to inform us, if give us, this nice information about it. And,
yeah. I remember telling these stories, and I remember maybe I manufactured this a little bit, but I remember this that publishing whenever I was publishing, and instead of lunch and eating lunch like other kids would do, I would go into the lunchroom and sell my comics, make some money. And
nice.
yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, I do remember that we were big into creation stories and art and graffiti and all that stuff.
Oh, yes.
I think I still have in my own home some artwork that you did for me that was like on a denim piece of something. In my
Oh, my God.
there's
Oh,
my parents' home in Long Island, and I still see a piece of work, man. It was phenomenal.
my God. Wow. Oh, you got this? Yeah, that was so fun, man. That was just, it was fun. I didn't do that.
I think the story wouldn't be great, wouldn't go well if we didn't tell about the fun times we used to have when we would go to the city. And I remember you went to the School of Visual Arts for a period of time. And then when you and I used to go to parties at places like Hunter Hall, all of these things in Manhattan, I remember those things. Which one was that? Yeah. We used to go to those. I remember those things. Back in those days, I don't know what the dances were. This was what, late 80s, all of that.
Late 80s? Well,
early 90s.
Well, let's not leave out. Yeah, well, let's not leave out, like you said, the way Roosevelt is, it's like we came up in a beautiful time where it was pre-hip hop era. This was when hip hop was just getting started. So for us, when we see it, we're hearing. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna see if you remember. I remember when you like I said, you always open the window and you play music sometimes. And I'll never forget. And I'll never forget. You said you had squeegee. You had the squeegee, and you were cutting on squeegee. I never forget. You did right there. You open the window. He said, "Not this shit. I got it." I said, "What happened?" He said, "No, I got turntable, and I'm about to cut the record." I said, "What record?" He said, "Squeegee." I said, "No way." And yes, you do it. You cut the record. I love for this squeegee. And you cut the record right then and there. And I was like, wow. It was crazy.
I remember Spoonie G, and I do remember because I was big into getting all types of music. If you remember this, we would go to a store which was in one of the towns over called Hempstead, and it was a store called TSS, and they sell vinyl records, 45s as well as 12-inch vinyl records. So I would take whatever little money I would have, and I would go and I would buy, most of the time, especially hip-hop records, I would buy the vinyl, because a lot of times on the flip side of the vinyl was the instrumental. If I can remember, the Spoonie G one was instrumental on the flip side of that. But yeah, TSS, that's kind of an all on the side. But that was his whole thing.
That's a whole different. That's a show within itself. TSS. That was the first all the one stop shop store. That was before malls and everything.
That's right. Used to go there and get what we call at the time karate shoes. I don't know if so like they were these little cheap shoes that you would buy. As soon as you asked a kid something, they would get scuffed. So you had to be very careful. I don't know how much it cost, but they had to be super cheap. Because as soon as you said, so they get scuffed. Scuffed. And I think I'm speculating as to why we call them karate shoes. And that's because I think we used to watch movies with karate, people on it doing karate, and they used to wear shoes that look like that.
Every Saturday, the drive-in movie, the Shaolin Temple, the Drunken Master, the Kid with the Golden Arm. Those movies on Saturday. And on top of that, let's not forget the gis. We wore combo gis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the combo gis, those are in, and they were selling those heavy. The Bruce Lee one with the white cuffs. All marked with the white cuffs, combo gis.
Our school had to, if I remember, they had to ban nunchucks because people were going around trying to do nothing.
I had a pair of nunchucks. I had a pair with the rope on it. I'll never forget it. I hit myself a couple of times, trying to perfect that art. I hit myself a couple of times, and that was real solid wood.
I remember that so TSS, I remember that piece, and one of the things that going back to the school thing and the music, talked about music and art was like our thing, like
Oh yes.
Both of our brothers are as close as the two of us are. His brother Kevin and my brother David as close as the two of us are. And then Chauncey is just as close to me. He was in the middle, but he's still really close to.
Right.
And I remember we would have jam sessions where we would just play music all day, all night long, especially on a Friday and night. We would and then Mr. Magic or whatever was coming on. And then whatever little bit of records I would have, we would just play them over and over and over
again.
And all night long.
And we would rate them. I never forget. Because the thing about it is, the beautiful part about the time that everyone grew up in was, again, hip hop was beginning, and we're not that far from a lot of people. Like when Public Enemy came out, the whole summer we heard the whole summer.
Rebel Without a Pause.
We heard it. Rebel Without a Pause the whole summer, and we would see Chuck, and we would see Play, we would see. We knew what it was. We knew that they were really drawing, and we seen a lot of hip hop stars.
Chuck went to the church that my mom still goes to. Chuck like his mother were in that church. They were really big. Lorenzo and Dewey, they were very of that church, and so Chuck went to church when he was around. He's older than us, but when he was around teenagers. He went to the church all the time. He actually served like I did as an acolyte on that altar boy on that church.
Okay.
So you're right. You would see them all of the. I would see them on Sunday. Mom and Dad, and every Sunday I'd see Mr. Lorenzo. Every. You're right. We would follow them, Flav and all that. My mom tells a story that when we first moved to Long Island and my brother was born, and she was trying to find a babysitter.
Yeah, I remember babysitter.
One of the first babysitters she found supposedly was related to Dr. J, who was Dr. J was from Roosevelt, and I remember that babysitter was our first. My mom always tells me the story that I told her that I'm not going back to that babysitter because she's leaving my brother in the pen and she ain't watching. That's what my mom said. I said. Because he was my little brother as a baby in the pen all day long. And he's a baby. You gotta look at him. I don't know. I can't remember. Was it super young? But all I know is I told my mom, I'm not going back to that movie.
Right.
But to your point, there's a lot of dope people that's come from Roosevelt that people don't know of.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of
Hmm.
things, a lot of places that they don't know about. Like, when I'm at work, I do signs, and I come in, and then when I do signs at Roosevelt, I come across a lot of people. They'll say, because they don't know I'm from Roosevelt. They see another black dude, and they're like, okay. They say, oh, the police. And said, you from around here? I said, well, I said, the first thing I say is, brother, I'm born and raised here. I got blood in the ground here. I said, I've been here since the roller rink and the movie theater. That's how long I've been here. And then when they looked over that place, they said, roller rink? This a movie here? I said, see, you used it. He's all here. And he said, well, I got into 2000. I said, okay, that's Schwinn. You got into 2000. I did it in the 70s. So he said, you missed the roller rink, you missed the bowling alley. We had 2 bowling alleys. You missed the bowling alleys, and you missed the movie theater. Oh, yeah. You missed Carvel. The movie theater. And I said, they were showing the Kung Fu movies on a regular at the Roosevelt movie theater on Nassau Road, right where Henry Street is.
I remember that. I remember the roller ring because I remember going back to us learning how to ride bikes. We did the same learning how to skate, if you remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. We
were there. Remember, we were there
on
every Saturday.
And every Sunday because it was cheaper on Sunday.
Yes. My mother would drop you. She would drop us off. My mother would drop us off, and she said, we would all just come on together.
That's right. The sessions were from 1 to 5 on Sunday for cheap. Mm-hmm. You believe that school kids, we would just roller skate for, I don't know how long, about 4 hours straight. Like that's a fitness going on there for little kids. Just roll around the skate rink. And they would have a good day. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the rap groups would come out to Roosevelt roller because it was one of the biggest roller rinks on Island at that time. Besides hot skates in Limbo, I did the Limbo, I believe. And then that skate rink in Massapequa. That was also hot skates. Massapequa.
For those of you who my brother here, John, if you need to know how to get to anywhere in Long Island, he is like the most ultimate guy. Not only does he know where places are, he knows every back road of everywhere to get places over time faster. Interesting thing about where we live in Roosevelt. We live in Roosevelt here. So for those of you who are listening to us, Roosevelt is 1 square mile. So on one side, we got Baldwin, which you talked about before. Then we got Freeport to the east of us, sort of, or to the right side of us. Then we've got Merrick on the back side of us over here. Mm-hmm. Then we've got Hempstead right over on this side. Then we got Uniondale. These are all like super close to where we are. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've heard of one, but those areas, they were easy to get to, and they were all around us. So.
Yeah. And then if you go on the north side, you got Westbury.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
You could
walk. Yeah, if you go north.
If you walk to Merrick, you'd walk over the back of a bridge. And it was, there was a good pizza restaurant right in that area.
Yes.
It was really, really cool. So Baldwin had a comic shop. Freeport had a good Freeport Mall. We would go there and get some karate shoes.
Yes, Freeport Mall.
Mm-hmm. You had to buy back in those days because they would sell like fake clothes, fake shoes and stuff. Like in Freeport Mall, people would get like Adidas and fake Pumas. They're like, yo.
Yep.
And you would get so clowned on if you walking around with some fake Pumas.
Exactly, for sure. Absolutely.
Pumas. And then Hempstead is sort of like a city. It's I don't think people notice. They think they're Long Island and as far away, but Hempstead's a pretty big place.
Yes, it's pretty big. Yeah, very big. And again, quite a few walkers came out of Hempstead. Like at the beginning of Illinois, I'm sure people probably know now, but Wu-Tang's Method Man is from the Heights in Hempstead.
Yeah, that's right.
He's from the Heights, and Granddad and You is from the Hills, I believe, in Hempstead. And then you had A Plus, who was from Parkside, right up in South Franklin in Pittsburgh. A lot of people don't know. Yeah, we were, to put it in context, we were surrounded by, when hip hop exploded, we, at this point of Island, we really saw a lot of people, and a lot of people really they really gravitated to it. It's like, because I know sometimes I used to work at Parkmore as a kid.
I remember this,
And
right? This was in Baldwin, I think. I remember.
Yeah, right on Grand Avenue. It's not there anymore, but yeah, it's and I used to call it the celebrity Parkmore because it was celebrities would always come through around because Parkmore would close around in the boroughs around 12 or whatever. That was only 24-hour work in that area. So I would see Biz Markie. I would see Positive Fit. I would see, sometimes Rock Him would come through there. I would see.
Why did it seem like Biz Markie was everywhere? Like it seemed like I would go.
He was always there. Remember we saw him at we go to the movie theater.
Yeah, I saw him.
We saw him that time.
Yeah, like, dude, every time I turn around, Biz Markie is somewhere.
He was always everywhere. Always everywhere. Rest in peace to him.
Hey, rest in peace. He was a great rapper, man.
He was one of the great ones, man. That's the beautiful part about hip hop. It was just it brought a lot of people together that usually wouldn't come together.
Yeah, but those saw my play last year lyrics. A lot of it was inspired by what June and I are talking about, growing up in this real world of hip hop. And I'm going to say that because right now, like every other music, hip hop is kind of commandeered by all kinds of stuff. It's taken the capitalism, which is a great thing, buying your stuff, looking cool, looking good, all of that stuff. And I think we're taking it to another level. I'm not want to try to say old man Winston don't like hip hop because that's not true. Hip hop today is so big. There's some parts I dig on others. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Hip hop is, but it inspired us. I would say that.
Absolutely. Like I said, just from the COVID, like to going to Jamaica Avenue, Jamaica Avenue was open, and every right before school, we would all go to the Ave or Pickett Avenue in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? And get clothing. And they had the base everything. And I remember when you got the sneakers that a lot of people could not get. And I still to this day, I don't know how you got them, but you got them. And not a lot of people have them. And I'm gonna tell you what they were. They were Puma Clyde. They were Clyde. They were Puma Clyde. They were Clydes with the wings. Wings that feel good. And you had a blue pair of Clydes. And nobody, when I say nobody had them, we still don't know how you got them. We're like, nobody had them. And you got them. And I remember I said, oh, you got the Clydes.
I want to say this was Jamaica Avenue. Is where I got those. Because at that time, especially when I got a car or started driving, gosh, I think that's where I got those shoes from. Because I was very big. She, bless my mom, she really indulged when I would say something now. Most mothers would be like, "Get the heck out of here! You ain't getting nothing." But that's right. My mother was just, and my mom is such a shopper that she would help me try to scope and find out where the stuff is. So she would get me like, where's those things? What are you looking for? Because my mom worked in Manhattan. So a lot of she would be able to see stuff and hear about where clothes were in different places that none of us could see or hear about. So if she would find out about it, she'd come back and tell me, this is what I found out about the thing. Because I'll tell her, Mom, I want a pair of Clydes. Then she'd hear somebody at work would tell her something. Next thing you know, we like know where to go on the adventure to get the bag. So,
you know what's crazy about that? I mean, again, we like 40 years gone, 40 years plus. So my father, JC Senior, he was not having none of that. He added, he was new to say, to me, we didn't know you know this and that. But I was good enough. They were just up here. But I think what we did was we put the seed in our head that we liked it and we wanted it because they were fire. We were like, okay, you got them. I'll be a player. Like when the feedback came out. When the feedback came out, I never forget it because we had that's and he had them hair a black pair, my father. And he and I were the same size. And I said, I saw I wanted it. I said, yeah, I need a pair of them. And he said, I need the black or blue pair. And he was big with me. Oh, but he said, man, he said, you know what they cost? And this. And he was just going in on me. And, I thought, Dan, how was this? He said, I don't go this kid. They're going red as red and raving. And then, it's hard to find out after I became an adult, that was all gay. Because it was maybe, I believe I asked him, it was a Friday. And I think next Friday, that next weekend, my mother said, I think if I read you something up there, I'll give you some money or something upstairs. So I'm upstairs. Listen, I'm time. He was even home at the time. And I go upstairs. And at that time, Eli came to the boss. They had their own bed. The people, you got some people. They have their own separate bed. They have the department store bed. They have their own bed. Anytime you bought therapy, like they always have their own bed. And I was like, oh, I said, is that what I think it is? And sure enough, I opened and they would have paid. I said, oh, where is he at? And then when he came home from driving cars or whatever, he came home, I said, oh, I said, he said, sit down, come, get up. He said, you up. You know what I'm saying? But that was his way, of love. That's how he showed it. You know what I'm saying? And that he did this to my brothers too. My we all got people, we got through things. He asked for stuff. And they went through it the same way I went through it. And they ended up getting it. The way he did it though. Yeah. He was just like that.
So cool, man. I remember him. He used to have these really totally impeccable Mustangs cars.
Oh, yeah.
And those Mustangs we had were become classics. They were like late 60 Kite Mustangs. And, I was like, well, I was like, whoa, where did Mr. Smith get them Mustangs? And they, time I saw them, no matter whether it was bad weather or not, they all looked like they just came out the car wash.
All the time, man. He kept a clean car. Always did. I just would. Went towards it. Your part. Between you and them, I mean, that Thunderbird, that green Thunderbird with the rims, it stayed pristine. And the wide tires, it was just pristine. The white walls were always white, not beige. They were white.
You know why they were like that? Because on Saturday, it would have me, and then later, partner or brother, sit there with a toothbrush or something for hours, brushing the white walls to make the white walls white.
Wow.
So annoying and painstaking. But it would make those white walls. I don't know why white walls were a thing back in those days. I don't know why people wanted their cars with white walls on their tires. I'm not sure why that trend existed. All I know is it forever hurt to do that stuff.
I know it was like, I remember your father had, you had the my father had the Cougar at the time. And it was, yeah, you had a Cougar. You had, I believe it was a 79 or 78, 79 Cougar. And they were both clean. They would keep their car clean. And that was just, and you remember, like you said, all the cars back then had white walls, whether they were thin white walls or skinny white walls nonetheless. And they were always clean, and the bowls and spokes and the curb feelers back then.
The spokes, yes, the spokes.
Yeah, but remember the curb feelers? Those The things just sticking out. So before you hit the curb, they're almost like antlers, almost like antennas on the bottom of the car. They call them curb feelers.
I remember that. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to. I won't want this conversation to end without saying something. Oh, an immense thank you. I've only been in a few weddings in my life as a groom's person or something, but I've been in John's weddings, and I'm thank you so much for allowing me to be your best man in a wedding.
Absolutely.
I was like, what an honor that was. I don't know if I had a chance to say that out loud. All I know is that it's one of the highlights of my entire life, my brother. So I thank you immensely for that.
I appreciate you, man. I mean, I wouldn't have anybody else. That's just how it was, how I feel. You know, that's just, I wouldn't have it. I didn't. It was even a thought in my mind. It was just like it was just automatic. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't think of nobody. I said, yeah. I said we were down from day one. Then we were down from day one, and we still, like 4 flats.
I remember fondly when I'm giving the speech at your wedding. The gentleman comes up to me and says, "Hey, are you a public speaker?" And
I said that. I remember said that was my pastor. Pastor Golson.
And at the time, I was not. But when he said that to me, it resonated with me. It made me think public speaking could be part of my life. Past many years later, and I am now a public speaker, and it's one of the things I enjoy the most, not because of something about me, but my hope is to impart something about my life or about what we can do to help inspire or motivate other people. And it's become really important for me. And I remember this speech that I gave at your wedding, back of my hand, because I wanted to make sure that speech wasn't about me. Some levels, it wasn't even just about you and your wife. It was about your entire family that came together. I was saying a moment about your granddad at the time, who was turning 90, I believe, years old, close to 90 at that time. And the entire crowd, like, roared with applause. So your granddad, it wasn't about anybody else. And I remember that so fondly, because your family is my family. You know, so you're out there. When my grandparents came from Jamaica,
I remember
June's mother would take them to church because they were Jehovah's Witness. He would take them to church for years. Whenever they go to the Kingdom Hall, I think that's what they call Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hall in Freeport, yeah.
Your mother would come and scoop up my grandparents to go to church with her.
That's it, yeah. That's my mom's. Yeah, that's mom right there.
Isn't that so close? Like, every part of your family, like, so integral to my family on so many.
That's just what it was. That's just the way, that's just where we grew up. Even our whole block, our whole area, everybody had their mother, father. Everybody had their mother, father, mother, father. Everybody had their mother, father. And we have relationships, not as close as ours, but it was like you had the Cofields, we had, Tilly across the street something.
Cofields with their,
Bob
they used to have the wolf dogs, they used to call them. They're big dogs.
Oh, really?
Wolves, yeah. They did.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was, we had
because they would kill other animals.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it was a trip. I mean, I think we were fortunate to have a very well-to-do, very close-knit block. Everybody was very close in their own way. They could fight with each other, and then somebody had to do better football game.
We would play football forever. And in those comment earlier, football, the cars weren't as frequent now. It's hard to play football in Roosevelt or any place really in Long Island because there's cars on every spot up the streets. But back in those days, we would just play football all day long until the lights went out. You know what I mean? And sometimes when the lights went out.
Absolutely. And then we would play organized football. The football season came around. Every kid on the block played football.
at different levels.
Didn't he?
And eventually, at different levels.
We had our own teams for our blocks, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, we did.
And we would go to other blocks and play other blocks. It was like, yo, everybody like that ain't for money. This was not like a gambling thing. It was just for bragging rights. It was just that.
Absolutely.
And we go to Washington Rose and play. Lots of time. We go right to the field of Washington Rose elementary school. And we play.
It was so important in our lives.
Yeah.
I know kids
Yes,
these days, but the whole concept of playing on your block or playing in your neighborhood, we could name all the people as you just mentioned. We could like name who they were. You just mentioned Vidals and the Cofields, and you got the Brookers over here, Burks over here, you got Alots over here, you got Ben and the Pool family over here. You like everybody in our area, you know.
Yeah.
Even around the blocks beyond, and we knew every single person.
Absolutely.
You know, these days it's hard to know what's going on, people.
Oh, absolutely.
Neighborhoods aren't the same anymore, or you don't know it the same kind of way.
Well, you know, I just had the I mean, just to see it change, just from my perspective, just to see it change. You know, the whole dynamic just changed. You know, and not in the worst way. You know, it's just Roosevelt High School was way different than it is than it was with us coming up. Because we talked about wouldn't it be cool to have a stadium, and now they have a stadium. It's crazy. It's very wild. It's to see the kids
to play on rocks, man. Used to play on rocks on us fields.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We used to play.
You know, but we were champions though. You know what I'm saying? That means we was every year we would go to Huffy and we played for the championship.
So everyone who's looking at Hofstra was where the championships for the different divisions within football would come to play, and go please there.
It's always there. And they're all our colors. So it's like our customers say, Dr. Merrill always say, this is our home. But they got our colors, this is our home.
That's right.
I'm not saying. That's right.
Yes.
It's you know, we've been together as friends for a long time, man. We both have sons. You know, both of our sons are grown people at this point. That's 26 years old. June, your son just turned 20, if I recall.
No, he's 21. He's 22 in September.
Sir. And I mean that to me is a life well lived, man. You know, all the time that whenever we're not here on this earth anymore, we are not going to remember all the stuff that we had. It's been great to think about what stuff that we had or bought or owned or all that stuff, but I ain't gonna remember none of it. I'm just gonna remember you. I'm gonna remember you, June. I remember you.
Oh, absolutely. Unforgettable things that we've done, and
I'll never forget you. Absolutely. You're put in my brain. Forever and ever, forever and ever.
you the family.
Yeah, we are like for real, and I think sometimes some friendships are different, where friendships have these kind of tension between them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever had tension like that.
Not that I've recalled at all.
It's always been like like either like
What time we moving? What time we going? We going to ride around in Queens or just riding around just in general? What time we got? I hop the fence, or you come in front of the crib and we out. If you come in, I hit the system. Here we go.
It was never any tension or any animosity because a lot of times we liked a lot of the same things. The football, and again, you took it to another level.
You had stats. You wrote down stats. You had a stat book.
Even when we went as hard, you had a stat book. And you had the teams that were playing, and then, when they dropped off, I was like, what? They was a beautiful thing because it made me look at it. I said, you know what? I left my game up. You got stats. I don't have any stats. I was like, wow.
You know, I don't really remember this. And you're the second person who's told me this.
Oh yes, yes.
I do remember this, and I remember people in where I went to elementary school, Washington was in Roosevelt Junior Senior High School, telling me that I would have stats and have a stat book for all of us in our class who would play paper football. And for the
Yeah, I mean, yes, you did. I remember that.
paper football was when you would throw it across the desk when you were not doing work,
Yep.
throw it across the desk, and if it edged across the desk, you get a touchdown. Then you'd kick a field
Yep.
goal. And
Yep.
you know, it was fun.
Yep.
Yeah, in the first part of Avengers Endgame, Iron Man does this thing when he's playing paper football.
Yeah, we always like.
Those
always,
oh
man,
a stat.
that's so cool.
I gotta find that stat.
Yeah.
And those were in those old
Yeah,
white notebooks, right? If I remember, we used to have the.
it was.
Matter of fact, let me tell you what it was. I example what it was blue, and it was a fall subject spiral notebook with stats. And remember, the fall subject notes back then, they had partitions. There were 5 partitions, and the stats were always full every season. And then you would every time every new season you get a new book. That was one of those things that you did. And with you being a public speaker, you always real quick, with your real quick speeches, real quick, whether you knew it or not. I don't think you really realized that you were doing it. You were just one of those things that you always did.
I did not recall. I remember us playing guitar. I do remember us playing like seasons and stuff like that, or we'd have
Yes.
like somebody would pick a few teams, somebody else would pick a few teams, and then we would track the stats like regular football. And if somebody got enough stats, or if they had enough win into the playoffs that looked exactly like the NFL playoffs.
Yes. Yep.
You have a wild card in the division and the championship and a Super Bowl, and I remember all of that, but I don't really remember that I was keeping track of all.
Yeah, you definitely keep track.
I'm on the outside looking in. I was looking outside. And it was full, and it was turned right to the page. And I'm like, I mean, you didn't turn the page, you turned right to the page. You know exactly what page it was on. It was this folder, and you just knew exactly. You were better than soon. Like you are now, you're still in tune. Like you were still even back then.
Thank you so much, brother. It's been great to talk about these things, and really talk about how we came up. You used to have a lot of of dogs. You're a dog lover.
Yeah. Yes.
And so you and it was great because it got your dogs are sort of like security for our family because they your dogs weren't quiet dogs.
No, they weren't. No, they definitely weren't.
So if something go down, and they gonna be there for all of.
They always ready. They always ready.
Yeah, I talked about the one thing that I can never do that you talked about things that I could do that you didn't do, but the one thing that I could just never be like you and your brothers who I was saying you guys were and still are phenomenal weightlifters. Like got for real diesel muscles.
That's Pops, man.
Pops, he always, let us say we go to Tandy Park, and at least I was the most with him. So as a kid, they weren't as with it as much as I was. I was probably thought I was a junior, and he would always have me with him. And especially when I was a kid, I was very impressionable. He just, I stayed. Always in Kennedy Park. My name said, it's just go down there, and they call that the dungeon. And it's still a number of big dudes, and a lot of my father's squares were humongous, just muscle battle. And I was like, but in 70s, 80s, that's what it was back then. Just full, just unadulterated muscle. And even when he come up, we had the cement weights. Everybody was trying to get real size.
Yeah, I remember this. You and your brothers are super duper fast. I don't know, just you got some genetic thing going on. But all three of you were like the super blazing fast people. It was good. I was like, how were these dudes so fast? You and your brothers are not the same size, right? Your middle brother, Chauncey, tallest of you, and Kevin is at the time was smaller, but now he's about the same size as everybody else. But coming up, I was like, why are they so bloody fast? I know if you're playing football, like if you were playing football with a helmet on, they can't catch none of 3.
Nah, we were quick, man. We were quick. Like, I mean, you had the strategic blocking scheme, though. Your blocking scheme was actually strategic. I was like, okay, because, when you were on varsity, I see you blocking, nobody would ever get past you. Like, your blocking scheme,
I was smaller than people because at some point I stopped growing. And so at some point I was like size I am now, but with less.
Right.
And so there was a lot of dudes that was getting 6 something, and they're like 280, 300. There was a lot. I remember this so fondly is that there was one season, and you watch film after a game, and Coach Carmel talking about earlier, he asked me to play tight end because somebody was injured. So tight end, and I was catching. I was a blocking tight end for these plays I'm playing.
Right.
So I'm blocking, and he looks at me and says, "Look at this Winston. He's blocking the dude, and he don't weigh nothing." Because at the time I might have weighed 170 pounds. And I was like, dude, Don, I was like, on my life, trying to make sure because I wasn't trying to kill me. I can't remember this point, but everybody was bigger than me.
Yeah, that was a big crew you played with. You played with some humongous brothers.
They were like for real dudes. They were already NFL size at that time.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I think went to the NFL.
Oh yeah, some of them did go and make some.
Yeah, the Chad with them. He went to the Jets. He went to Syracuse.
He went to the Jets.
Yeah, he played for a few years with the Jets too.
Football.
Yep, and then I know when I played, there was Ed Hobson. He went to Syracuse. A lot of dudes went to school and they did pretty well in school. You know what I'm saying? They really after that next year. I was seeing my television. That really took me out.
Yeah, it's a fun story, and you probably don't remember this one. And so I graduated from college, right? So I invite everybody over for this thing, and June and I, we would like sometimes practice our dance steps. So except if you remember seeing a kid and play, for those of you out there, we would have our own routines and crap like that.
Yes.
We would be able to jump, put our legs through each other. We have all the stuff that we would do. So we're at our party, and you are doing some things that people are like, "Whoa, wow, what's going on?" Because you were up here, and then you landed, and your leg protruded from your.
Oh yeah. My knee came over the other side. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
The bone came out or close to coming out.
Nope.
That was the end of the party, but to me, that was one of the best parties ever.
It was.
Like we were dancing so hard, man, that my brother got hurt. I mean, you were hurt, so it wasn't like at the time we were concerned about you and all that, but you were like a trooper, like whatever, take me to the doc hospital.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I'll never forget that.
I remember because I was sitting there looking at you, and we were sitting there talking while you were sitting there, and you sort of you were in pain, but you weren't like screaming or nothing. And
no.
It's like, I was like, dude, you ain't screaming? Your bone is outside.
It was my kneecap. My kneecap had shifted on the other side of my leg. I just don't get it my kneecap.
That's right. Your bone was like out. You was just I'm waiting for the people to come, the paramedics.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was like,
and, those dudes were funny. Those dudes had
jokes all day. They were like, it was like, they said, look what you did to your friend. Look what you did to his car.
They're pretty cool, yeah.
I remember getting, at some point early in college, I was working at a carpet store, and you wanted a job at the same carpet store.
Yeah.
So it's a
Don't forget it, giant carpet.
I can't remember. Giant carpet, yes.
Giant carpet. Giant carpet, and right there in Glen Cove Road.
Yeah.
In our Carl Place.
In Carl Place. So he come his first day, and these guys were a whole bunch of wise guys. These guys who were the salespeople. They were all like super do. They all did all day long, and outside of making sales, just crack jokes on each other
all day.
So they come in there and they say, "Oh, here's a new guy working there, and his name is John Smith." And people are like, "What?" He got the check on me. They ain't nobody. It's John Smith. That ain't a real name. You guys are all like Italian. They're all making like these cracking jokes. Just get John Smith.
I never forget. Those guys are funny, man. Those wise guys.
There are a lot of that. Oh, it was Sam Rosenberg. Oh yes, I remember Sam Rosenberg. Yes.
He had that
Drop top booze.
It was a silver 2-seater roadster. I think it was a 500 SEL. I believe.
They were all corrupt, man. They were all getting they were legitimate people who were into those businesses, who were taking money up top for both those businesses.
Oh, for sure.
And it would eventually they busted out those businesses because they couldn't keep paying whoever they were paying. I don't want to say I don't know anything else. I don't know enough about the mafia, so
allegedly.
But this is my thing, especially when I started to see different kinds of people come around. When the sales were going in, people that I didn't know, like why are these guys coming talking to Sam Rosenberg or whomever the people were?
Right.
Yeah, so the next thing you know, I'm closing up shop.
Right.
Things are busted. It's busted out. But those things I remember because those dudes would always send me across the street to the off-track betting place because they were gamblers, and they were always horses. So I had to walk around and on the place to this OTB. I think that's what they called it. Went to this off-track betting, and they would always break me off extra money because I'm not supposed to be doing that. It's my job. So sometimes they would slip me like $50, $100 just to go over there and to place their bets for them. And I would have to like fly out of like, I'm going to take a lunch or something like that. And then the next thing you know, I'm walking over there, and then I would do whatever I'm doing, and I would get the $100 on the slide. And then you could tell that they're whatever they were betting on didn't work out because they'd be pits. They'd be like, I'm done with it. I'm mad at that. I was like, what are you so mad? I'm mad. Whatever horse they were betting on didn't win. And next thing they got to get out of it.
Right.
See, man, those guys. I think one of my favorites was Perry.
Oh yeah.
Perry was a fun dude. Oh my God, he was hilarious. That I forgot all the way he was from, but he started doing from the boroughs, but I didn't know exactly where.
But he was funny. I remember.
I think there was
Marty said, he said, Marty, why don't you pick up the carpet? He said, I'm gonna pick up the carpet. That doesn't have my name on it. He just it does. Spain Master. You talking about being falling out? Oh, I was on the floor. You said that. Those guys are crazy. Oh my gosh. But I tell you something though.
There was some really good skill on how to cut carpet and to cut it exact and everything right there. We definitely got some skill.
You definitely are in this again. You make me think. I'm as much as I'm a public speaker. My second love is being a writer, and those guys have enough stories that I could write a TV series. Man, somebody's told me the time.
Absolutely.
Deal with those guys because those guys were funny and they were stories. Sometimes they would have fist fights. To do.
Oh yeah.
It was just like why are you? They would fight like dudes with suits and ties. Because they want to fight so much because they want to stay out their suit and tie. So they only and then they would get tired because they were older. They were like our age back then.
Right.
So they would get tired after doing this for 30, 45 seconds. And then they would take a deep breath and they were like, let me go sit.
But let's not forget though. The Jamaican brother that was there, what was it Neville?
Howard. Name was Howard, I think his name was, or something like that.
Howard, he would always, every time he would get out, I would go left with him.
If you're doing something, you ever say, "Hey John, go get the root beer snapper." And back then, a root beer snapper was quarter. It was a clear stopper with a hoop beer. And you'd always religiously, well, I said, go out and get me the root beer snapper. I said, okay.
I was telling this story about them the day they were having this fist fight. I all remember one guy named was Gary, and maybe it was with Perry, and they having this, and it was with Howard, and they're all having this, just like, and the boss, they were all like having this fist fight about something, somebody's sales and this. They were like really, really fighting. And then after the fight was over, a guy comes over, one of the workers there, one of the guys' name, his name was Bob Giordano. And he says, all right. And he's like, hey, you guys want me to make some cannolis? And everybody's like, oh yeah, let's get some cannoli. At the end of the fight. And then the fight is over. There was like, hey, like, I'm gonna get you back. Or fight's gonna keep going on. It's like, when it's over, it's over. You know, that's it.
That was it. Then we closed.
That's right. Yeah.
We were closed.
His cannoli. That was even the other story. I remember so fondly.
That was crazy. That was very interesting time, though.
Yeah, brother, I love you so much, man. Your son and your wife are brilliant. You are celebrating 10 years of being married to your wife this year. For those of you out there, please all make sure we have a great congratulations from my brother and his wife. We have a there's a ton of the tree. You know, your entire family, your mom's, she's still there for everything that goes on with us. She's just great. Your pop, your sister, your brothers, your youngest brother, Triz, all of you have just been phenomenal for everything in my life. And in my family's life. It's like Wilsons and Smiths, we're sort of really intertwined with each other. I appreciate you being on this thing. And, you know, my show is called The Creators Creativity Show for a reason. And that is because being creative, especially as we get older, we have to muster up for courage to keep being creative. Because they put us in a box. They're like, John, this is it. It's a wrap. You know, stop being creative. Stop thinking about things creatively. Or don't even think about the things you've done creatively in your past. And I tell people all the time that being courageous, being creative these days require us to keep pushing.
Absolutely.
All the stuff you told me about stuff that I did in my life that I don't even remember. I guess my young brain and being courageous back then.
I don't forget much. That's the thing. I never forgot much.
That's awesome. I hope you can come back to the show, man. This has been a phenomenal conversation. We had some people come in and they go like, yes, I'll come back. Yeah, I appreciate that. For those of you out there who gave us some love, thank you so much for giving us love. You know, for those, and I'll end with this. I love this man. You have people in your life that you love and you care about. Please make sure you continue to pour into them, because that's what's the only thing that matters. It does not matter what you own, how big your house is, how dope your car is, how cool your fashion is, what your newest gadget is. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the people that's dope in your life, the people that you grew up with, the people that you love, the people you said yes to, whether it's vows or anything else. That's the only thing that matters in this life. That's the only thing that you can count on. That's the only thing that I count on. If it wasn't for John, I don't know. Now that we live a decent amount away from each other, anytime I feel like I can't keep going on or something is making me want to slow down, I think about him. I think about all the stuff that we've done together. You know, when we were 15 years old or 8 years old or 45 years old, that we didn't stop doing things. So, brother, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. For those of you out there pushing, please do not let yourself go away. This is Winston with the Courageous Creativity Show and the Fearless Productivity Show. I will talk to everyone again in the future. Thank you so much.